It's a hot box. So, the issue. She broke that out. And then she broke that out. So yeah, see where it was welded before? Well, it broke somewhere else this time. But that's probably got a lot to do with it. Because that is heavy. So I'm taking it out because I don't use auto steer. Probably just end up sticking it up on the classifieds and taking the first serious offer for it. It's never worked on this machine for some reason. It's been really hard to dial in because we used this machine for swathing canola and we tried and tried. We had a lot of luck with the easy steer system when we had the big monitors, but this one, it only had this little light bar with the little screen thing. No, didn't like it. Who knows, maybe someday I'll get an updated version with the proper screen and all that stuff, but this stuff is starting to be getting outdated, so I'm going to chuck it because it doesn't work with this system. It's just too heavy, especially cutting hay, and really I can do without it. So I gotta pull up the spline, get the drive shaft out of there, and then take it in the workshop and figure out, because that piece there is gone. It's missing completely. So it looks like we're fabricating, and then there's a broken bolt there, but I don't think it's going to be hard. I think it broke the top off the bolt. That's it. Shouldn't be too hard to get that out. Bring you back if it's not, because I'm sure you'll love to see it. Let me use a whole bunch of Gallic words. Not really, just swearing. A lot of swearing, yeah. Okay, well, saved you the boring stuff. So I notched the crack, the two surfaces, beveled it, should I say. So I just did spot welds, because it's not that thick a material when you really look at it. Like, there's my thumb. So yeah, I notched it a third of the way through on either side, and then spot welded, good hot blobs of hot glue. And then just buffed that down. And then on this side, because the piece that was for there had, where is it? It had seemed to have come apart. It was in two different pieces and one piece was missing. I think I covered that. So I just found a piece of steel, and you might notice it's a little thicker, but thicker is better. That's what they say. I think they say. They might not say, but who cares? So yeah, same thing, sort of notched it and welded. Goobered it in there pretty good, buffed it back down, and then measured that distance, and did it there. And now go and put it back in the swather and hope it fits. I already found a bolt, because my stash of bolts that I took out of all the e-waste from RF Now, Jen Andrews. So I always keep all the nuts and bolts that come out of stuff, because you never know, and you never know what just happened. Just like that thing. So we're going for it in the swather. And there you go. She's naked. The motor's away. The triangulation module was away, and the cable with the donut, or should I say the mushrooms, gone. I tell you, it's a heck of a rigmarole. Feeding that steering column down, because it comes right out on top of the big splitter block, hydraulic splitter block under the cab. Of all the spaces, it's down there wide open. That's where they choose to put the hydraulic splitter block, is right below that. Oh, I tell you, Liam, when you become an engineer, don't be that engineer. Be the good kind. Be the kind that us shade tree mechanics just wish we could buy you a beer. One off the list. Lovely job today. So as I'm going to rebuild these turtles, they're caked in the hay goo, sap, I don't know, mud, everything. And it's literally like concrete. So to get that from these involves the Widowmaker. So yeah, use with caution and do it outside so you don't cover your entire workshop in a fine layer of awfulness. The one thing I'm finding out underneath all that crud is a whole bunch of these little hairline cracks. Obviously behind where there was ramps that we just rebuilt. Obviously behind those. That one's okay. And that one's okay. So just some of them have it. So yeah, I'm gonna do the inside and then I'll flip them over and do the outside. And the handy tip to keep a hold of them while you're working on them, because this thing likes to throw stuff around, is just to stack them. That way that they hold each other. They hold each other. Yeah. Okay. I'll get on with the insides and then we'll flip them over and do the outsides. There. Yeah, that one. Yeah. There you have her. So, like there's those into the end there, there's not a lot of wear on them, and it was more trouble than it's worth to take all that off to get them out. But yeah, so they're all wire wheeled inside and out. Notice there was a few stress cracks starting to happen in some of them. Some of the odd, just little ones. That was the worst one. So yeah, welded inside and out. See, some of them, there was just a little crack, some was a big crack somewhere else. So whether maybe it got bent at some point, just kind of threw it out of whack, and the vibration took care of the rest. So yeah, it's pretty well ready to go. These paddles are getting to the end of their life. I don't know what length they're supposed to be, but pretty sure they need replaced. So at some point, this thing needs absolutely gutted. As you'll notice, this one is missing a complete tip. It was welded, as you can see, that's pretty bad. It was welded when we got it, and I remember it came off probably 4 seasons ago. I found the part, but I wasn't about to start trying to weld that back on. And like I said, for the most part, these skids, they actually don't touch the ground very often, only when I hit molehills and things like that. So, and the rear, the little skid plates, I don't know if there's very many of those left on this, because I just ended up cutting these off. These are the rear parts that were sticking up like there. See, that's what they're supposed to look like, and that's what some of them look like. So they were starting to catch the crop, so I cut them off, because for the most part they do nothing on this header, because this header, as Ed calls them, has training wheels. So I've rebuilt these once before, put new bearings in them, and so pretty much the header runs on these wheels. If they gum up, you're in too wet a condition. So yeah, kind of keen to get going. Problem is, we've got 2 or 3 days of rain coming straight at us, and then after that it's all hell breaking loose, because I've got at least 200 if not 250 acres that needs to be put down right away. Still not sure. We'll see when we get into that field over there if we're going to cut it all or just cut the headlands and then silage the rest of it, just get the custom operator to come in and do it. But yeah, I'm kind of keen to get this up and rolling, see how these behave. This thing also has an issue. It has some hydraulic leaks, so it's another one where it was leaking back before when the family owned this together, and yeah, and we just kind of muddled it through the best we could, changed a few O-rings, but the actual diverter block is gooned, it's cracked, and they told us that it was going to be about $2,000 to replace it. Should have just went ahead and done it, but trying to save a penny, save a pound. So, and plus these rams need repacked too. But for now, right now, throwing a bucket in it once a week is not a big deal, but I kind of want to get all these things topped up and fixed because oil's not cheap anymore. Like, it wasn't cheap to begin with at 70 bucks a pail, but it's now 90 something, so gonna have to swallow that cost. Just got the call from Mazers up at Shoal Lake there, and they were saying, oh yeah, your the brakes that they've bled the brakes and charged us for it before. Turns out they didn't realize the O-rings were gone inside the, what do they call them? The bell housings, what do you call them? Funnel housings on the back axle. The O-rings on the brake pistons, whatever they call them, the calipers, inside the back axles, both sides. I figure they're both gone. So you get the call today to say, do we want them to pull the rear wheel housings off to replace these O-rings? And well, I need brakes, so might as well. We're in now for, like I said, probably 10 grand. So that's what it's waiting on, that, and they're still trying to figure out why the alternator is not showing up proper voltage. I mean, this shouldn't be so hard, but anyway. Okay, it's only money. Well, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to go and give it a wee test just to make sure it's working that way when it does rain. If there's anything that still needs to be addressed, we have time before we get into the thick of it. So yeah. Keen to see her. Giggity. So we're in her. As you can see, it's a pretty good looking crop. We got a half-inch of rain last night, but we can't wait. And the reason we're out here is, if you look, it's absolutely pounded into the ground. Flat. So the only way to get this to dry out, and we have to get on, is to cut it. It's pretty slow going. Tires aren't too wet, but yeah, she's hard on the ground, so I gotta cut close to the ground, which makes me nervous, but yeah, we're at her. We're getting her done. Day 2 of cutting. So yeah, we made a good dent in it last night. Good swaths. They're pretty solid though. That's like, they don't look, considering this big mat is actually probably supposed to be between 30 inches and 3 feet tall, and it's now down just basically at the level of the front of the snout. You'd think it would be about bigger swaths, but those swaths are fairly solid. So I'm hoping they're gonna dry out. They're gonna dry out a hell of a lot quicker than laying in a mat like this. And yeah, I spent about half an hour after lunch digging molehill mud and plant goo out of the turtles. Had one blade to replace, and just a whole bunch of cleaning out to do. That's just part of the parcel. I'm having to cut closer to the ground than I want to, and I'm trying to keep it as far off the ground as I can because of the way things worked out this spring. This field didn't get rolled again, but I did get out here and picked as many of the rocks as I could see, still finding a few. But it's the molehills, the gopher hills, that are really causing the issues. Like I said, run into them and the wet mud just bungs right up into there, and it's even wrapping, it's even gumming up the feed auger inside the header. So, and yeah, it's so muggy that the AC unit in there is freezing up again, so I can only run it for one trip and then run with the AC off on the back trip, blowing warm air to thaw it out, so I can run AC one direction. Yeah, that's fun in a mobile greenhouse. But there's going to be a lot of bales. And apparently the big blue tractor is supposed to be done today. It might be home today, probably home tomorrow, so that'll be good, because I really don't want to put the loader tractor on the baler because we're waiting for parts for it. Yay. But anyway, gonna get back to her. So yeah, how to say it's hot without saying it's hot. It's currently about 34, 35 degrees out there, and humidity is Satan's undercarriage humidity and heat, as you can see by the little bugs flying around. And this piece of crap, yeah, even trying to use the AC sparingly, you get one row and then it freezes up the condenser, and then you're screwed. So then you have to run without AC half the time. It is not pleasant. It is about 45 degrees inside this cab. So yeah, I'm just trying to keep as much sun out of this cab as possible. Like, when that sun gets down to the horizon, it's going to be fantastic in here. But right now, it's absolutely, like in the middle of the day, like in the afternoon when the sun's overhead, it's actually not bad in here. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's not terrible. But right now, it's probably closer to 50 degrees in here. It's absolutely insane. But I'm probably going to have to wrap this video up, and you'll all notice this is not a braggadocious about the family. It's just, we got busy. That video will be coming, but for now, cutting. I should be about halfway done tonight. I usually get about 40 acres done per day, especially going slow. When you see like that, that's just a mat. You can see it's hardly up to the height of the header, but yet it is 3 feet tall. Anyway, I'm gonna get going again, turn the fan back on, so you won't be able to hear me once I do that. So yeah, subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. Cut on!